Test automation is one of the fastest growing disciplines in the world. Software testing is projected to grow with 19% per year, which makes the market for test automation grow even harder. Now, there has been an insane increase in the market for test automation engineers. In the US, as a meteor test automation engineer, you will make approximately $110K a year, and as a senior, this will grow to $130K a year. Now, if you're looking for an opportunity to get into this market, in this video I will show you how to use Python and Selenium to build automated test scripts. Now, you have to watch this video till the end, because at the end of this video I'm going to show you the most important part, and that's how to automatically generate a test report in HTML. Let's start right away. So in this video you will learn how to build a test automation framework from scratch. And before we start, we're going to start with installing the required libraries in Python. So I'm going to open a terminal. New terminal, and in this video I'm going to assume that you have already Python and VS Code installed. If you haven't installed Python yet, there is another video on my channel that explains the entire process of installing Python together with VS Code, and there is another video that explains the same process in case you have a Mac machine. Okay, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to install Selenium. So I'm going to type pip install Selenium in order to install Selenium. And recently Selenium has made a big upgrade, because before you had to download all the drivers, for example the Chrome drivers, manually, and that's not the case anymore, because those drivers are now included in the Selenium package, and that's from Selenium version 4.10. So if you already have Selenium installed, I'm gonna request you to type the following: pip install -- upgrade Selenium. And of course, if you have a Mac machine, you're just going to type pip3 install -- upgrade Selenium, press enter, and then make sure that you have the latest version of Selenium. Then I'm going to continue with pip install PyTest. That's the test automation framework that we're also going to use in this video. And in order to make HTML reports, we're also going to install pip install PyTest -HTML, like this. Okay, now I just want to make sure, because I know some of you might have older versions of Selenium already installed. So I just want to make sure that you have a Selenium version that is more recent than 4.10, otherwise the script is not going to work. In order to check that, just type import Selenium, print Selenium dot _ version _ and let's run the script, and then you will see that I'm using Selenium 4.17, which is more recent than 4.10. If that's the case for you, we can make a start. The application that we're going to automate in this video is this one. Just navigate to the link in the description and you will end up in this login form. Now I can log in with admin and password, and those credentials are already also mentioned here. And then I'm going to click on submit. You will see if I use admin and password, I'm able to log in successfully. And if I just press a 1 here, for example, and click on submit again, you will see login failed. And this is of course the behavior that you should get with a login form. If you type in the right credentials, you can log in. If you type in the wrong credentials, of course, you should not be able to log in. And this is the application that we're going to test with the test script that we're going to write today. So let's navigate back to VS Code, and I'm going to type from Selenium import WebDriver, and from selenium.webdriver.common.by import by with a capital B. Okay, then we're going to declare the driver. So driver is WebDriver dot. I'm using Chrome in this video, and I would definitely encourage you to use Chrome as well. It's one of my favorite browsers, but in this video you can use any browser. As long as you have the browser installed, you can just, for example, type Firefox here, like this, or you can maybe work with Edge, if that's your preferred browser, like this. So I'm going to use Chrome, but just define here what you prefer. And of course, if you want to work with Firefox, you also have to make sure that Firefox is installed. And that's the same for any other browser. Now we have a driver defined. We can do all kind of things with a driver. So I'm just going to navigate to this website again. I'm going to press Ctrl+C. And then I'm going to say driver.get, use parentheses and double quotation marks, Control V. And then I'm going to ask Selenium to navigate to this website. If you have this piece of code on your machine now, I would encourage you to run it just to see if everything what we have done until now is working. So just press here in order to run your script. You'll see that the browser opens and it also immediately closes. And this is how Selenium works. Selenium will basically open the browser, it will do its job, and then it will immediately close after it has done its job. So if you want to see what Selenium is doing, you can do the following: import time, and I can say here time.sleep, and then for example you can define 5 seconds. And if you run the script now, you will see that the browser will stay open for 5 seconds, and this will allow you to see what Selenium is doing in your application. So for now, we're going to use time.sleep just to see what is happening on the screen. But if in the actual testing, we're not going to do this because we will see the test result in our console. So let's continue. Okay, so the easiest way to communicate with elements on our screen is to click here in Chrome or any other browser. Just click on the element and then look for inspect or something similar. And then you will get a bar on the right side of your screen or at the bottom of your screen, like in my case, with the element highlighted. So if I click here on inspect, you will see this blue bar. And then you will see here that this element is of type text. The class is form control, etc., etc. And the attribute that I'm looking for in HTML is the ID. And that's because the class, for example, if I navigate to the passwords, you see that the ID is different, but the class is the same. It's also form control. So it doesn't really make sense to try to identify the element based on the class, just because it's not unique in most cases. And in most cases, the ID should be unique. It's not always, but it should be. So I'm going to Control C, ID is username. And then I'm going to define the username. Username is equal to driver dot find element. And first I'm going to define how I want to identify the element. And that's by, with a capital B, ID. And this by is referring to this one. So that's why we had to import this library. So I want to identify by ID. And the ID that I want to find is username, of course. So now we have basically said that username is equal to this input box, and now we still want to do something with it. So now I'm going to say username dot send underscore keys, and the keys that I want to send, that's admin, like this. Okay, and just for you to be aware, Selenium will always open another browser, so it's not using your current browser instance. So I'm going to again press on the play button and let's see what the script does. So you see that admin is typed in this element. Again, make sure that you are using time.sleep, otherwise you won't see it because the browser will close immediately. Then I'm just going to do the same for password. So you have probably already seen that the ID of password is password. So I'm going to copy that. I'm just going to put it here. So this is how we identify the password, and this is what we type here. And what we want to type here is also password, because that's the password for this application. Okay, let's again see if our script is doing what we want it to do. Admin password, okay. And now the next thing that we want to do is press on this button. Of course, we cannot do this with the send keys function. So I'm just going to click here on inspect. And now you will see that the ID of this button is submit-button. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to also define the button. So submit is equal to driver.findElement by.id. And the element that I want to identify is submit-button. Then what do I want to do with submit? I just want to click on it. So I'm just going to press here .click. Like this. And here, of course, you had to provide an argument. What do you want to type? With click, that's not possible. You can only click on it. So that's what we're doing for now. Let's run our script again. Okay, very good. So you see here now login successful, and that's of course what we want to see if we provide the correct username and password. I'm also here going to navigate to the next screen. So use admin and password. Click on submit, and then you will navigate to the next screen. Now, if I click here again, and I click on inspect element, you will see here that we have a div with ID result, and then you will see that the class is alert success. This class is going to change because if we are not able to log in successfully, it's going to be something like alert minus danger. But the good thing is that both for the positive and the negative scenario, the ID of this HTML element is going to be the same. So I'm going to Control-C it. Let's see what happens if we press the wrong password. So I'm just going to put a 1 here, click submit, and then you will see login failed, inspect element, and you will see here indeed that the ID is also result, and the class is different, right? So, and after we've logged in, we're going to get a certain result. So we're either going to get a login failed or a login successful. So I'm going to type actual text is equal to driver.find my.id. And the element that I want to find is, of course, result, because I want to catch the result. But if I just type this, actual text is going to refer to the entire element, like all the HTML, etc. But I only want the text inside of this div. So I'm going to type .text. And this will only give me the text in this div. So I'm going to press this. So the text that I'm expected underscore text is equal to login successful. And then I'm going to make an assertion. So I'm going to assert whether the actual text is equal to, just make sure that you use 2 equality signs, not 1, because otherwise you're making a declaration, is equal to expected text, like this. And if that's not the case, you can also provide a text like login should be successful, but is not. And this will basically explain you what went wrong in this assertion. Okay, let's run a script. Okay, so I've made a mistake here because this one should be find element, not just find. So let's try it again. So now we see that there is something wrong in our assertion. So in username, we have typed admin, and password, we have typed password. So there is something wrong here. What did I do wrong? So the expected text is equal to login successful. And I think this is where the actual mistake is. So the expected text is login successful. Let's try that. And you see that here it's login successful as well, but I think I just made a typo, because if I Control-V it, yeah, exactly, there is one more S. So let's run our script again. Okay, so the login is successful, we have seen that. And now you see here that we don't get any errors. So the assertion was as expected. I always just want to make sure that I also test the negative scenario. So let's try to put password 1 here. Okay, and then you see here login should be successful, but it's not. Okay, so the script is working as expected. And we've tested as well the positive as the negative scenario. But I also want to do this automatically. So every time I run this test script, I want to test both the positive and the negative scenario. What I'm going to do here, I promised you in the beginning of this video that I would show you how to build a test automation framework. This is not a framework yet. So from now on, we're going to work with PyTest. And that's the module that we've already installed before. If you are using the internet a lot, just like myself, you want to make sure your connection is private and your IP address is not exposed. In order to protect your personal information, I highly recommend to use a VPN when surfing the internet. Private internet access is one of the best VPNs on the market and also one of the cheapest. They make sure your personal information is secure and your IP address is hidden. One of the cool side effects of a VPN is that with a VPN, you can also get access to all kind of content on Netflix that is not available for your country. With the link in the description, you can get up to 83% discount on a private internet access subscription. And you can run PyTest by opening a terminal and then just type PyTest like this. Now you see that the output is no test run in 0.01 seconds. And that's because PyTest will only run functions that are in files that have test_main, so that have the prefix test. Okay, so press enter. And then we also should create a function. So for example, what we can do here is we can create a function def. So just make sure that in the name of the function, you also put test underscore and then what you want to test. And then I'm just going to make sure that this is all part of the function. And then let's again try to run the script. So open the terminal and then run PyTest. And we'll see that PyTest is actually running our automated test case. And now you see the output of PyTest. You see one test passed in 9.91 seconds. And of course, it's taking a bit longer because we still have the time.sleep here. And the sleep is no longer needed because at this moment, we don't want to read ourselves from the screen anymore. But of course, we have our test script to read what the result is. So let's run PyTest again. Just press PyTest, enter. And I will see one test passed in 4.85 seconds. So this looks already better. So let's close the terminal again. Okay, so we can now create a function for a positive test scenario and also for a negative test scenario. And then every time we can then declare driver is WebDriver.Chrome, etc., etc. But we don't want any redundant code. And in order to avoid redundant code, I'm going to create a class. And in that class, I'm going to add functions. And I'm also going to add a setup and a tear down function. And I will just show you what I'm going to do here. So let's add a class here, class test login. And in that class, I'm going to create functions. So I'm just going to cut this one here. So let's create another function, def setup underscore method self. And this is where we are going to then initiate our driver. And this setup method will be activated before any test. So we have the setup method, then we have the test login. This makes sense. But this, I'm going to change this one. Of course, I have to add self here as well. And then I have to add driver is equal to self.driver, like this. Okay, now you will see that the errors will also disappear. Test login positive. So this is going to be the positive scenario where I can successfully log in. I log in with admin and password, and I expect that the login is successful. Then let's copy this one. And let's add another method, def test underscore login negative self, Control V. And here I'm just going to type, I'm going to log in with admin and 111. And in this case, this test will fail. So let me just check what the text is going to be as soon as this test will fail. So 111. And I will see here login failed. So Control C. And I'm going to put this text here in expected text because this is what I expect. And then the actual text is what we will get from the script. And then in case this assertion doesn't work, so in case the outcome of actual text is not the same as expected text, I'm going to say login should fail, but did not. Like this, okay. So we have opened the browser and then we also want to close the browser, and I'm going to do the same here as with the setup method. So the setup method will run once I start testing. So that's where I want to, of course, declare driver and open the browser. And as soon as I stop testing, so when these test cases have all been tested, I'm going to use def tear down underscore method self. And here I'm going to say self dot driver dot like this. And this is where I then close the browser after all the tests have been finalized. Okay, so as I already mentioned, you need to put the prefix test underscore before all the files where you want to test, and as well before all the functions where you want to test. So just make sure that you save your file, then navigate to the terminal, new terminal, and here I'm just going to run PyTest again. Okay, and I get a big fat error, and that's because I made one mistake. I just had to put self.driver here to make it accessible for every function, and type PyTest, press enter. Okay, and then you will see that 2 tests have been finalized and 2 of them have passed. Let's just again test if it's working what we're doing. So let's put password here and let the second login be successful. Okay, and now you see that one test failed and one was successful. And you see that the second test failed. Login should fail but did not assert login successful. Is login failed, and that was not the case. And that's of course because I put password here. So let's put 111 here again. Just make sure that you save your scripts. Don't forget to save, otherwise this is not going to work. And then run PyTest, and then you will see that both tests will again be successful. Okay, I also promised at the beginning of this video to show you how you can get an HTML report for your tests. And that's really easy. Just type PyTest -HTML is report.html. And of course, report.html, that's the file where you want to save your test report. Press enter. You'll see again that the 2 tests have been passed. And now there is a new file here, report.html. I'm just going to open this in the File Explorer, Reveal, and then open it with Chrome or your favorite browser. And then you will see here the test report mentioning that both tests have been passed. If one of the tests fails, you also see the reason why the test failed here. I really hope this video was helpful for you and is going to act as a stepping stone for a career in test automation. If it was, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.